First thing I noticed wasn't the silence. It was the dinosaur lunchbox sitting neatly in the middle of the kitchen table. Its zipper was open. Inside lay half a peanut butter sandwich wrapped back in wax paper, and beneath it, folded into careful quarters, was a note written in crooked block letters. Dad, only ate half because I didn't know how many days you would be gone. I couldn't breathe. For a second, my suitcase remained in my hand, my house key still hanging from the lock. Everything else disappeared. 3 days earlier, I had kissed my 6-year-old son, Owen, on the forehead before leaving for a business conference in another state. My parents had insisted on staying with him. We've raised children, my father laughed. Go do your job. My mother rolled her eyes when I thanked them for helping. You worry too much. I believed them. Maybe because they were my parents. Maybe because trusting them was easier than imagining I couldn't. The first evening away, I video called. Dad answered from the backyard. Owen's building with his blocks. I heard my son's voice somewhere inside. The call lasted less than a minute. The second day, my mother texted a blurry photo of cereal on the table. He's eating, everything's fine. When I asked to speak with him, she replied he had already fallen asleep. At the conference, presentations stretched late into the evening. I ignored the small uneasiness growing in my chest. Doctorants learned to distinguish fear from imagination. That time, I chose imagination. I was standing inside my own home. Owen? Tiny footsteps hurried across the hallway. He ran toward me wearing the same blue pajamas as I'd packed for the first night. He collided into my leg so hard I nearly lost my balance. I knew you'd come today. His voice sounded cheerful, too cheerful. Children sometimes protect the people they love without realizing they're doing it. I knelt beside him. Where are Grandma and Grandpa? He looked toward the window. They went on vacation. When? The day after you left. He answered as casually as if he were describing the weather. My stomach turned cold. He said I was already 6. He smiled a little. They said 6-year-olds are brave. The house looked strangely organized. Every cupboard was closed. Dirty dishes had been rinsed and stacked beside the sink. The living room lights were still on, although sunlight poured through the curtains. Owen, I could barely speak. You here? He nodded. By yourself. Children don't describe fear the way adults do. Instead, they describe routines. I locked the door like you taught me. I only opened cans I could reach. I slept with Teddy near the hallway because he hears noises better. He picked up a small stuffed bear with one flattened ear. His fur had become stiff from years of being carried everywhere. I left one sandwich every day, so I wouldn't run out. Every sentence broke something inside me. The refrigerator still held enough food. A chair had been dragged against the counter where juice boxes were stored. His toothbrush was dry. He admitted he'd forgotten one night. He apologized to me. I called my parents. My father answered on the 4th ring, laughter echoing behind him. We're still at the lake. You left him. A pause. He was fine. He was alone. Don't exaggerate. My mother's voice entered the call. We couldn't miss this vacation. He's already 6. I looked toward my son. He was quietly putting his crayons back into their box, pretending not to listen. Something settled inside me. Not anger, certainty. The responding police officer arrived within 20 minutes. He spoke softly to Owen, asking simple questions while another officer photographed the home. No raised voices, no dramatic accusations, just careful attention. Later, a child welfare investigator joined us. She sat on the living room rug instead of the couch. She noticed the emergency numbers taped beside the refrigerator. She noticed the blanket folded beside the hallway nightlight. Finally, she looked at me. He did remarkably well. She paused. But he never should have needed to. Those words landed heavier than anything else that day. My parents drove home the following morning. Vacation bags still filled the back seat. My mother stepped out first. We came as soon as she stopped. The police cruiser remained parked outside. The investigator was walking down the front steps carrying her folder. My father's confidence disappeared almost instantly. He asked what was happening. The investigator answered, 6-year-old child was left without adult supervision for approximately 3 days. No emotion, just facts. Sometimes facts weigh more than accusations. The legal process moved quietly afterward. There were interviews, statements, mandatory parenting and grandparent responsibility classes ordered as part of the investigation. No one shouted. No one celebrated consequences. My parents looked smaller each time I saw them, not because they had been punished, because they finally understood what they had done. Several weeks later, my father asked if he could see Owen. I met him alone first. He held the little stuffed bear I'd found on the couch that morning. I washed it, he said. His hands trembled slightly. I keep thinking. He swallowed. He believed we were coming back. Neither of us spoke for a while. Then he placed the bear on the table between us. I don't expect forgiveness. I nodded. That's good. The words weren't cruel. They were simply true. Months passed. Life became ordinary again in the quiet ways that matter most. School mornings, soccer practice. Bedtime stories. One rainy evening, I tucked Owen into bed. He hugged the worn bear against his chest. Dad, yeah? You'll always tell me if you're going away, right? I brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. Always. He closed his eyes without another question. Trust had returned, not because of a promise, but because promises had finally begun to match reality. Outside, rain tapped gently against the window. Inside, the hallway light remained on, not because either of us was afraid anymore, just because neither of us minded leaving a little light for someone we loved.